Good morning, David Combe here with the CBS Week Ahead report for Monday the 18th of July. We've got probably four major things to be focusing on this week. The first is the quarterly earnings numbers coming out, continuing to flow out of the US. The other out of the US as well, of course, is the debt ceiling discussions that are going on between the Republicans and Democrats there. The Republicans seemingly proving pretty recalcitrant on doing anything constructive to sort out the problems there, and don't seem to have too much concern about the long-term benefits for the country there. But anyway, we won't get into politics. Of course, as the European financial woes continue, pretty much unabated. We've also got a lot of housing data out from the US, which will either paint a continued pretty gloomy picture there, or might offer some signs of hope that things are on the mend there. Those earnings reports due out, by the way, are fairly tech and banking heavy. There's a couple of industrials in there, General Electric and Caterpillar, but the techs are Apple, eBay, Intel, IBM, Microsoft and Yahoo. And out of the banking sector with Bank of America, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley there. So might get some good numbers out of some of those techs there. I guess we'll see in the fullness of time. Okay, moving right along. Closing up there on the indices, 42 points for the Dow, 7.27 for the S&P 500. And the Nasdaq up nearly 1% there on Friday night. In Europe, pretty much red picture apart from Germany, just up 0.07%. Then our region saw us were pretty much down that whole day on Friday. Ended up closing down 17. Hang Seng down 64, and the Nikkei closed up 38. The futures are suggesting that we'll have a slightly declining open there in the US tonight, and our situation is a little bit more optimistic, pointing up 17 on the SPY here. We are at a pretty key level in terms of being down near support on our local index. You could look at taking a position there to the long side, knowing that where you're wrong, so you have quite a tight stop loss in. But we can have a look at that in the Balkan Trader in a minute or two. I'll just finish up with the update here on the commodities and then FX, and we'll move on. So we have West Texas trading at 97.60, so just up a little bit there, at $1 or so since Friday. Natural gas at 4.56, so that's moved up pretty nicely there. We might actually be in a position to exit out of that trade, albeit for not the sort of profit that we would sort of like, ideally, but a reasonable profit nonetheless, and so reasonably encouraging to see that. Now for the various softs, just to move through here and see the big movers. Looks like cotton was a pretty big mover at 4.79% downside. Nothing really standing out there apart from perhaps wheat down 1.73, coffee down 1.86. Really the only big movers there. Fairly big move on copper, $4.44. That's moved up quite a bit in recent days. That was up 3 cents. And then gold, of course, pushing up here towards 1600, and that's 15.98. So it's moved up a good $15 odd since the Friday trading range there, if my memory serves me correctly. Silver, we've often maintained that we should be expecting to see silver catch up there, play catch up, and it is. It's had the bigger move, over 3 times the move in percentage terms over gold, and so certainly taken out that level of resistance there that was silver. There was a little bit of concern, but yeah, that's broken out to the upside there by the looks of things. Moving on to our currencies, euro buying 1.4127, the pound buying 1.6119, US dollar buying 97.18, 1478. Now we did get stopped out of that trade. We have seen a very long-term level of support around 80 yen, but that was taken out pretty decisively excuse me, the other day. So yeah, we took a small loss on that one, unfortunately. The Aussie's buying 1.0650 US dollars, and the US dollar is buying just 95.41 Canadian, and just 0.8104 Swiss francs. Let's take a look now at our economic calendar for the week. So we've got some economic data out of New Zealand, Consumer Price Index numbers, expecting some rises there in the year-on-year figure. Then we've got some GDP numbers on house prices. Then we've got minutes out from the RBA, so we'll know what their thinking or thought processes were for July. Then Eurozone German construction activity. Some Canadian leading indicators. We start to move into this US housing starts numbers that I mentioned a minute ago, and actually expecting 575 for June, and 600 for new permits. We've got our Canadian rates decisions out at 11 o'clock tomorrow night, and then we've got consumer inflation expectations, Japanese leading index, PPI, producer prices rather out of Germany, Bank of England minutes, Canadian monetary policy report, just concentrate on the big ones here, German purchasing manufacturers index, and more housing data there, house price index, leading indicators, Philadelphia Fed, July, and then rounding out the week with Canadian CPI numbers there for June, month on month and year on year. And that about takes us through to the end of the month there. So let's take a look at the Falcon Trader here. Now I've just noticed that Citigroup have put out a buy recommendation on coal and allied industries, CNA is the code. Now, that has traded off in recent months there on the back of various production difficulties, and they're actually putting a price target of $130, so they're looking for it to go and revisit these levels up here. Now I would have thought with some of the consolidation we're starting to see in the sector and the continued strong demand that that's probably not an unreasonable expectation. We should start to see some uplift come through there. I would have thought if you had your stop loss underneath this recent low here, you know when you're wrong there, and hasn't made a reversal or hasn't reversed, and then hopefully start to ride that one back up there. A couple of the gold stocks here that should be looking pretty good. I won't necessarily go into those in detail, but from the likes of Medusa, Kingsgate, St Barbara, some of the ones I've talked about quite a lot here on and off over recent months, and yeah, with gold breaking up to 1600, should be a bit of attention focused in that area. I want to just have a quick look at the Aussie index here, and that's where we can see where we're back down here at these levels of support. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we know we can have our stop down here pretty close, 1440, 1430s, that sort of thing. And of course we're mindful for any shocks, so we don't go in with a huge trade there, which might force the index lower. Okay, one stock that I mentioned last week that I quite like the look of, descending wedge pattern, really done very well and burst out of the blocks, and that's ResMed. So we had a really strong up day, I think it was Thursday, or Wednesday, and then a gap up to 308. So I'm really happy with that one. Just have a quick look here at silver, and then might wrap it up for today. Now that was the level of resistance that I was a little bit concerned about there, but it's punched straight through that, and like it wasn't even there. So marching onwards here to catch up with that ratio with gold, perhaps. Okay, so I think I'll leave it there. Have a good week. Good trading. Probably good to have a bit of a mix of longs and shorts here in this market. And certainly some of the retail sector is looking, if not already, sort of missed the boat on shorting some of that stuff. There might be some work I'll do today to look at some opportunities in that sector to be looking at providing a little bit of balance in the portfolio with both longs and shorts. Okay, thanks as always for your attention. Till next time, bye for now. Just an update there, Jono is apparently back tomorrow, so he'll be back doing his usual report as per the usual schedule. Rightio, bye now.